Our resource person is a professor at the Department of Forestry, Cebu Technological University, Argao campus. He teaches courses related to plant taxonomy, botany, biodiversity, among others. Dr. Lillio finished his Master's of Science in Forestry, major in Vegetation Science at Visayas State University. He also obtained his doctoral degree in Forestry, major in Plant Taxonomy at the University of the Philippines, Los Baños. In addition, Professor Lillio also obtained Bachelor of Science in Education. He has also published a number of research peer-reviewed articles related to plant diversity, native trees, ferns, species from ultramafic soils in the Philippines, fruit bats diversity, diversity of mangrove species, among others. Our resource person, Dr. Edgardo P. Lillio.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity of giving this time that I could share our output in the limestone areas of the Cebu Island. Actually, the project is funded by the DOST through the DOST NICER program. So the title of this paper is The Native Trees on Mount Lantoy, Key Biodiversity Areas, Argao, Cebu, Philippines. The researcher have the idea of having this activity in order to determine the different species composition, particularly on native trees in Mount Lantoy, because Mount Lantoy is considered as one or among the 117 terrestrial areas designated as KBA based on the criteria formulated by the committee. This is the group of the DNR and the Haribon, as well as the Conservation International in 2006, based on the criteria of vulnerability and irreplaceability. So, based on their findings, Mount Lantoy is ranked number 85 in the new sites for among the KBA. So, this Mount Lantoy comprises the Mount Lantoy specific the mountain, Mount Lantoy, as well as the Nugas Forest, as well as the corridor that connecting Mount Lantoy and Nugas Forest, which is now the Palimpino Range. It has a total area of 10,457 hectares. So these areas, this site, serve as an habitat to 17 or almost 16 threatened species. 2 of them is critically endangered. That 2 also is the endangered. Then we have the vulnerable species and the 16 restricted range species of both the plants and animals. So aside from that, the researcher also would like to verify the findings of Pilser and Barcelona in 2017. They have in their paper they have published that they have recorded the Cyanometra cebuensis, which is critically endangered and endemic only to Cebu Island. Actually, this is the species is endemic to Tabonan, according to the author, and the one who discovered the species is Sidin Warts in 2013, and based on that study or publication on the paper, Cyanometra could only be found in Tabunan, but based on these findings of both Pilser and Barcelona that they have recorded it in Mount Lantoy, so it encourages us to do the research and verify if it is really true to have this kind of species. And we all know also that native trees, based on the study of Lantican in 2015, considered the native trees as the basic foundations of our forest ecosystem, and that is true because it has high adaptability to our local environment. Particularly in this time of climate change, the species that will only survive are those adapted to the environment. So this is the study sites of Mount Lantoy, and Mount Lantoy is also part of the Argao Delegate Watershed Forest Reserve, no, as declared by the presidential proclamation in 1994, no? That is Presidential Proclamation number 414 series of 1994. So in this study, we use permanent plots. So we consider this permanent plots because we place permanent borders, so made of cement, no, in every borders to identify that is the boundary of the plots, so that during verifications or survey of the study, if there will be changes, no, in the site in terms of species, so we could easily identify, no, where is now the plot, or we could easily locate the plot. So the plots were distributed in different elevations. So since Mount Lantoy is just a small mountain, no, it has only an elevation ranges from 500 to almost 800 meters elevation. So the distribution of our plots is only in lower elevation, that is below 200 meter, and the above elevation, which is above 500. No? So the size of our plot is 25,100 meters. So based on the area, we have only identified 4 plots that pass to our set requirements or criteria in the establishment of plots, which is the different types of vegetation. No? So in this study, so we have measured, aside from identifying all the species within the plots, we have also measured the DBH, the total height and the crown diameter, as well as the basal area of the trees. So for those trees with a diameter of 10 centimeter and above. So this will implies or signify on the structure of trees, no, within the study site. So in our recording also, the total height and the debates were categorized into different classes. Now, we pattern it from the study of Lolical in 2008. Then the computation of the basal area is patterned from the DNR formula developed in 1993. Aside from that, we also include the mapping of and the distribution, of the different native trees within the plots, wherein we determine or recorded the coordinates, the coordinates of every trees, based on the concept or theory of Bantayan in 2015. So we pattern the mapping based on that concept. Then we also recorded the disturbances and threats we have observed in the area. So, and we verified that findings based on direct interview of the respondents found in that area in the study sites. So the data, that we have gathered, we are analyzed based on the number one, for the native trees, we analyze native trees based on its important value, the dominance of the species in terms of its density, the frequency, and the relative dominance. Then the species we also analyze based on its diversity by using the Shannon index. Then we cluster also the different species by plot, so that we could determine the similarity, if there will be similarity of species between plots. So the clustering is based on the presence and absence of species using the Brace Cortez, the Jacquard, and the Sorensen. So we compared the three methods, but on the findings of Bromsborg and Stephenson, it is the Jacquard and the Sorensen which is the most openly used method in the clustering in the analysis of data, for binary data. Then the data for the disturbance and threats were analyzed using the Binin and Towson disturbance index, in 2006. So based on the findings of the study, the result, no, so we have found out that based on the study site characterization, we have found out that generally Mount Lantoy is a forest over limestone habitat types, no, and it is mostly dominated by Karka formation based on the geological map produced by the municipality of Argao. So the characteristics of the site are particularly say in the geological composition. Mostly they are raised sedimentary and metamorphic rocks. So there are the area or the study site rather is covered by bouldered rocks, large boulder rocks. So it confirmed to the result or the findings of Oatley Charles in 1979, as well as the findings of false formation by Fernando in 2008. So we have also the different plots. So the plot one mostly is located in the higher elevation in 500 meters, also the mountainous areas. So, and we have found out that the vegetation of that plot is it has a 70% vegetation cover, no, with 80% canopy cover. Then the plot 2 also is found in the or located in the lower elevation with 200 meters elevation, and the plot is covered by trees ranges from 11 to 41 centimeters, so they're smaller, and the percentage vegetation cover is only 60%. While the plot 3, no, so we located or place the plot 3 in higher elevations because in Mount Lantoy, the dense of vegetations or the vegetation cover or areas covered by trees or forests are mostly in the upper areas, no, higher elevation, because you know the Cebu Island, based from the study of Malyari in 2000, so Cebu Island has only 1% vegetation cover, no? So, and most of this vegetation cover is in the upper elevation. So because the lower elevation are converted into agriculture, no, and a combination with agroforestry program. So the plot 3 is located or placed in an elevation in between 600 to 700 meters elevation. So this is mountainous with vegetation cover only of 50% because of the presence of outcrop boulders, no? Large size rocks are existing in the area, but there are still vegetation, no? So the vegetation type is different from other plots. Then we have the plot 4 also is located in or placed in between 500 to 600 meters elevation. So the vegetation cover is only 70%, no? So based on the result of the species composition of native trees, we have recorded 112 species, and these were classified into 64 families and 84 genera. So from 112 species, we have categorized 80 native trees based from the co-digital flora, no? And 10 species recorded of shrubs, 3 species of ferns, 3 species of herbs, 4 for moss, and 4 for epiphytes. So among the plots, majority of the species were recorded in plot 4, plot 2, and plot 1. And the dominant species are the Syzygium simile, the Ficus benjamina, the Planconilla doclitan, the Calophyllum blancoi, the Leiocarpus kumingi, the Parisia palabog, the Uniotalamus elmeri, the Pomicia pinnata, the Sucilum ossiflorum, as well as the Cinnamomum cebuensis. So these are the dominant native trees found in the area. So the highlight of the study, the result of the study, which give us more motivation, is we have recorded 5 new species and 1 probable new species. So this new record of native trees in the area were the Alectron fuscus, Ardisiata vaiensis, Juspirus foliata, Letocarpus robinsoni, Podocarpus rompi. Then 4 species of the 5 new record are endemic to the Philippines, and 2 of these species were already under the category of or classified as threatened species based on the TNR 2017-11. The Juspirus longiciliata is already critically endangered. In Podocarpus rompi, this is a gymnosperm, is already considered as vulnerable now. So we consider this as new record because based on literature, we have one study conducted in Cebu into 2010. That is the study of Dr. Buot, and these species are not recorded in his manuscript, in his report, published manuscript. So we consider this as new record in Cebu Island. So these are the documentation of these species. So we are very fortunate that during the gathering of data, we found out that these species are fertile, they are bearing fruits. So this is the new species that the probable new species that we have discovered now. So the manuscript of this new species is under reviewed in the Malaysian Journal of Biodiversity. So we named this as the Simachilon. Actually, this is the first name, Latoyense, but we honor this to, in our publication, we changed the name. We honor this to Ma'am Leilani America. So the Simachilon, in the genus of the Simachilon, under the family Anonaceae. So what differs it from other Decimachilon is the fruits. We have found out that the fruits of the species is larger in size and they are numerous, and its shape is oval as compared to other Decimachilon, and the petiole is longer. Then the number of seeds of the species is numerous or higher as compared to other species. And we also submit the species for DNA testing, and we found out that this is also different from other Decimachilon. So we have proven that this is really a probable new species. This is the structure of Mount Lantoy, based on the structural density of the native trees. So among the 4 plots, we have recorded 517 individuals of native trees from plot 1 to plot 4. And we have found out that the native trees, so majority of the native trees, or 66% of the native trees, has a diameter of ranges from 10 to 19 centimeter. So majority is, we could consider this as smaller trees. Then 31% has diameter of 30 to 39 centimeter, and only 3% which has a diameter of 40 centimeter and above. So actually we could consider this as residual, but in a limestone forest, it is normal that the trees are smaller, no, in sizes, but we have found out that the larger trees are also, we could consider this as remnant, no, from the previous vegetation, no? So they are larger, so they serve as probable mother trees. So we could internalize that before, Mount Lantoy is really covered with large trees, so because of the remnant, and most of them are Diphthrocarp, no, in that area. So this is the distribution, no, as well as the basal area, no, per species, per diameter classes. Majority of the large trees are found in Plat 1, and Plat 1 that is in 500 meters elevation, as well as the Plat 2, no, the Plat 2 is also in, we have also find large trees in Plat 2, and that is in the 200 meter elevation, no. So we have the distribution of the large trees is in the upper and the lower elevation. So there is we could implies that we could really, if the area will be protected, so the site could regenerate by itself, no, because of the distribution of the mother trees which is found in the upper and the lower elevation. In terms of the biodiversity, based on the result and based on the computation of the Shannon index of the diversity, we have a 3.5 relative value of 3.5. No, so we compare it in the range, by McDonald in 2003. We have found out that the species diversity of the area are still high. So there's still high species diversity of Mount Lantoy, and Plat 2 is more diverse. We have found out that Plat 2 is more diverse as compared to other plats, Plat 1, 4, and 3. So with the recent anthropogenic activities in the island of Cebu, so we still have areas which is high diversity, and that is in Mount Lantoy. And based on the study of Coles and Lees I think that is in 2000 that diversity will signify for its stability and productivity of area. So, and areas with high diversity, so we could imply that these Mount Lantoy are still stable, still stable and still productive. So that is why a lot of species or animal species are still coming on that area, to look for foods, because of the varied plant species. For the importance values for the determination of dominant species, we have found out also from the result that Parisia malabog are the species that dominated in the area, so with 15% of its important value. So dominant in terms of the species are dominant in terms of its diameter, richness, and the density per hectare. So although the Parisia malabog is under the Anacardiaceae family, but its form and shape is similar with Diphthrocarp. It is large and straight, with the branches, or with monofocal branches, which is only found in the canopy. So, and they are more adapted to the area. No? So because of the presence of the widenings and sapling that's scattered in the forest floor of the study site. So another dominant species in that area are the Liocarpus cumingi, the Syzygium simile, Ficus benjamina, Gumpandra luzonensis, Palacium ubobatum, Blanconilia docretan, Terminalia putidissima, Bunyotalamus ilmeri, and the Cinnamon sabensis. So, for the conservation of the site, we could use these dominant species or priority species, no, to be used in the reforestation program, no, of Mount Lantoy. So, in terms of the conservation status of the species, we have found out that out of the 112 species that we have recorded, 17 of which are already classified as threatened based on the DNR 2017, and we compared it to IUCN also. So from these 17 threatened species, 2 of them is considered as critically endangered, the Diospyros longiciliata and the Cynomytra cebuensis. Then 3 were recorded under the as endangered. We have the Cinnamomum cebuensis, then the Vitex parviflora, as well as the Apsilia rhomboichia. And 9 of the species were found to be vulnerable, and 3 species were considered as other threatened species. And we compare this result to IUCN classification, and we found out that only 1 of the species out of 112 of the 17 threatened species were considered as critically endangered, no, the Soria polysperma, and there are only 7 categorized as vulnerable. So under IUCN, we only found out 8 species as under threatened. No, so there is a discrepancy in the result between DNR or the DAO 2017-11 and the IUCN read list, no, of the species. Based from the study of Buot and Villanueva in 2015, we have found out that DNR read list and IUCN read list, there is they have the difficulty in updating their listing because of the area of coverage, though. So DNR or the DAO is considered as local organization, so they have the high percentage of updating the conservation status of the species, no, because it is only local, it is in the Philippines, whereas the IUCN is their coverage is global. So there is now the discrepancy in the updating the status, no, conservation status of the species. Maybe that would be the reason, no, as cited, no, cited from the study of Buot and Villanueva. So we have also the other species, no, with their conservation status. So we have the Incha bihoga, no, so already vulnerable in DNR, but not yet. There's no record in IUCN, no, this update. But for the Stanopsis decorticata, both the IUCN and DNR consider this as already vulnerable, no. For the Diospyros pilosantera, they consider the DNR as vulnerable already, but not yet classified in the IUCN, as well as the Perocarpa, no. Then the Palacium luzonensis, both of them consider this as vulnerable. Then the Soria polysperma, the IUCN considered as critically endangered, but still vulnerable in the DNR. Then the Waliasiodendron silibicum, Cryptocarpa ampla, considered already as vulnerable in the DNR, but not yet in the IUCN, no. As well as the Gymnostoma rumpiana, no. The cinnamomum mercadoi, the Adelantera intermedia are still other treated or considered as other treated species in the DNR, but already vulnerable in the IUCN. So those are the discrepancies now in the updating of the conservation of status. Anyway, so the conservation status species will be used as priority, in the conservation of species. So we have to prioritize all the species which is threatened both in IUCN and the DNR. So that would be the significant of the result. Then we also recorded the penology of the native trees in that area, but the recording of our penology was only based on during the gathering of data, schedule for the gathering of data. So the flowering time, so we could consider the species as fertile if we have the flower of the fruits, and this is very sensitive because the period for the gathering or the period for the fruiting and the flowering species is they could be considered as sensitive, because of the climate change that is based on the study of Trainee in 2010. Sorry, and they are very useful in the ex situ conservation of the species. At least we know when the period or the schedule of its flowering, so that we could gather the seeds for reproduction. And during the gathering of data, during the period of gathering of data, we have found out, based on our record, that only 70% of the species are bearing fruits and flower on that time. So that is the limitation of our study. We have not conducted the regular monitoring on the penology. So our penology data is based only during the period of the gathering of species, the period of gathering of data. So based on our result, unfortunately, when we compare it to the co-digital flora of the Philippines, only one species which coincide with the record of the co-digital flora of the Philippines, and that is the Lillio kumingi. So other species, no record in the co-digital flora. So these are the list of the species with the penology period during our collection from April to May, and we have not, based on the congenital flora, we have not found any record of the flowering of these species except for Lillio kumingi. So we have analyzed also the data, our data, by clustering our native tree species, so that we could determine if there will be similarity of species from plot 1 to plot 4. So our criteria in the clustering is based on the presence and absence of species. So wherein we compare the result from Braycortes, Sorensen, and the Jacquard. And we have found out that the Braycortes clustering, there is only two groupings of clustered vegetation, or two vegetation type were identified, wherein the plot 3 and plot 2, according to Braycortes, is considered or belong to one subgroup. It means their species are almost similar. Then plot 4 and plot 1 is forming another subgroup. So another form of vegetation type, different from plot 2 and plot 3. So when we see also the findings based from the Jacquard and the Sorensen, both Jacquard and Sorensen clustering, we have found out there are three types of vegetation. So plot 2 in both Jacquard and Sorensen considered it as a distinct type of vegetation, so differ as compared to plot 3. So the plot 3 also is species of plant tree are different in plot 2. So distinct, no? So two plots, 2 and 3, they have a distinct type of vegetation type. So they differ from each other, opposite to the findings of Bray Cortez. However, both 3 methods, Bray Cortez, Jacquard, and Sorensen, found out that plot 4 and plot 1 are forming together as one subgroup. It means the plot 1 and plot 4 they have similar species. No? So we could say in our findings, no, based from these 3 methods, that the result is in plot 4 and plot 1 is very reliable, no? Based on the 3 methods. So in Mount Lantoy, so we consider that there are 3 types of vegetation. We favor our result from the findings of Jacquard and Sorensen. No? So because in literature also, according to Stephenson, as I mentioned a while ago, that Jacquard and Sorensen is the most oftenly used methods in the clustering of species. Then, knowing also in how destructive is the site wherein we study the disturbance index, no, of Mount Lantoy, based on our observation and direct interview by the respondents. So we have found out that the area is affected, no, or experience rapid deterioration caused by the illegal hunting. No? So peoples are doing illegal hunting. So one time you have seen a group of hunters, no, we take an documentation. No? So in that area, and we have record this one. Then we have the charcoal making, then conversion of the area into agriculture. No? So these are the disturbances that we have found. No? But not all of the area. These are only an isolated, no, isolated situation in some of the area of Mount Lantoy. That is why when we apply the Binin and Towson scoring, we have found out that the scoring is 0.72. So, and we, based on its category, you know, we have found out that Mount Lantoy are still moderately disturbed. No, so that is why these disturbances, activities, or anthropogenic activities has not yet affected, no, or still in this first part, no, of its deterioration to the diversity of species in the area, because Mount Lantoy are still moderately disturbed, and it is based sa young diversity value, it has still high species diversity. So we are not yet in the critical period, no? So we still have time that we could protect the area, no, and preserve the remaining threatened species in the area because of these findings, no? So that is our main conclusion, no? So we still have time, and we already published this paper in Philippine Journal of Science and presented this result to the municipality, different municipalities that cover the Mount Lantoy as TBE, no? So we ask their support to protect and conserve the remaining species of Mount Lantoy. So that's all. Those are all the findings, no, so of our study. So thank you and good day everyone. So once again, so if you have some questions, so maybe you could chat, no, because so we have a problem also with internet connection in our area. Thank you once again, and thank you for the invitations. Thank you also to Dr. Bolt and the the organizer of this activity, at least allowing us to present our result, of the existing species in Mount Lantoy in Cebu Island.